Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin. Today we're unboxing the Surface Go. So this is the newest new form factor-ish to the Surface family. Obviously it's not the newest Surface device. Microsoft just announced the Surface Pro 6, the Surface Laptop 2, the Surface Studio 2, and then of course we have the Surface headphones on the way. But this is the newest Surface PC line. In some ways, it's considered to be a successor to the Surface 3, but they're not calling it Surface 4, obviously. They're considering it to be something completely new. So the Surface 3, though, the first one was the Surface RT, and that was the very first Surface. It came with an NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor, and it ran Windows RT. It was a terrible, terrible failure. And Windows RT was a terrible failure because you couldn't run Win32. There was a ton of reasons why Windows RT didn't work. We're not going to get into that because this has an Intel processor. They did Surface 2. That was another Windows RT attempt. Surface 3 was like how they made up for it. Finally had a 3x2 display, had an Intel processor, and now this one also has an Intel processor. It's a Pentium Gold, and it's a Y series processor. So if you think of a Core M3, it's like a little lower end than that. But it's in that same Y series family. Okay, so let's get this open. Some people consider this to be like the Surface Mini that we never got. And it's not. It's by any other standards, this is a full-size tablet, right? It's got a 10-inch screen. And this one costs $549. This one has 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. The base model is 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. They both have the same processor, but that 64 gigabytes of storage is eMMC, so it's slower storage as well. Check out what else is in the box. We have some paperwork in here. All right, Surface Go, great. Over here we have the power cable. This is going to be a Surface Connect. Sadly, Microsoft still hasn't made the conversion to USB Type-C. Look how tiny the power brick is. It's great. And it's all one piece, seemingly. If I could get it out of here. But yeah, Surface Connect. Okay, all one piece. It should be 24 watts, I believe. It doesn't say on it, which is fine. So yeah, here's our Surface Connect port over here. And then we have USB Type-C. It's USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type-C, and then a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is still placed a little high on the device, if you ask me. I really wish they would start placing them down here, but they don't. And I can show you on the Surface Book that they place the jack all the way at the top. So when you're using it as a laptop, it's a real pain. So camera on the back. Okay, nothing over here. Kickstand, obviously. It's a nice little device. And this is, again, 10-inch tablet. So, as I do with all Surface unboxings, I brought out all of my old Surfaces. And here's the type cover that's going to go with this, by the way. Okay, so they sent me platinum. I wish they would send me more pretty colors. They really don't. And yeah, it works just like a Surface Pro, but it's a little smaller. What I have here is the original Surface Pro, and I'm going to put it right on top there so you can see that it's not really much bigger. All right. This had a 10.8-inch display, 16 by 9 1080p. And you see this, the Go is a little taller, the Pro is a little wider. And that's because 16 by 9 is obviously a wider aspect ratio. Microsoft ditched 16 by 9 when they did Surface Pro 3, which I also have with me right here. So much bigger, obviously over 12 inches on the display rather than 10.8 inches. And that was a big problem with the original Surface Pro, was that this is very thick and heavy, so it was a little tough to use as a tablet, and then it was also too small to use as a laptop. So I'm curious about how this is going to be to use as a laptop because it doesn't really seem to fit that form factor. Now, the keyboard is not compatible with other devices. And this is very notable because, as you can see, I have the Surface Pro 3 signature type cover here, and they're not going to fit. This is the first time in Surface history that it hasn't been compatible with all keyboards. And I can show you, like, if I take off the keyboard off of the Pro here, these keyboards are compatible. You can take a Surface Pro, you can take a brand new type cover, put it on the original Surface Pro or even the Surface RT, and it will work. Or you could take this original type cover and put it on the newer Surface Pro. It will work. All type covers have always been compatible, even if they don't exactly fit on the device. Obviously, this isn't going to cover a Surface Pro 3, but the keyboard will work. So that's something that has changed with the Go, and there's really no reason for it other than the fact that this is a little longer, but they could have fit it. I don't know, but the point is, it's a new keyboard design, and you're not going to be able to use other type covers with it. Okay, so we can start booting this up. Like I said, Pentium Gold 4415Y, which is fine for a device at this price point. Although, I mean, obviously, I think we would like something a little more. So. Thing is, at $550, there's some decent PCs out there. It's not going to be a tablet form factor, and obviously this has Surface Pen support too, which is huge. Okay, so as is usually the case with Surface, you're paying a little bit extra for the form factor, and that's kind of understandable. The bezels are huge, which I'm not a fan of. You know, they did the same thing with the Surface Pro 6. Like, nothing changed this time around. And also, another thing about Surface Pro 6 and Surface Laptop 2 is that there's still no USB Type-C. So, I have a Surface Book 2 right here, which is the highest end of Surface devices. Of Surface portable PCs, I should say. That has USB Type-C. Surface Go right here, that's the lowest end of Surface PCs. That has USB Type-C. Anything in the middle, Surface Pro 6, Surface Laptop 2, no USB Type-C, which is kind of disappointing, but I think it's really cool that this device does have it. So the downside to that USB Type-C port, of course, there's no USB Type-A port. And the interesting thing about that is that this is the first Surface device that hasn't had a USB Type-A port. Remember, that was a big selling point of the original Pro and the original Surface RT, is that they were back in 2012, tablets didn't have USB Type-A ports. It was the iPad was the main tablet, and that just had its 30-pin connector. It might have had Lightning by then. I don't think it did, but it might have. But USB Type-A was a big deal. Now, when they did Surface Pro 4, that was around the time that the MacBook came out. And remember, the MacBook was famous for only having that USB Type-C port. And Microsoft was widely criticized for Surface Pro 4 and Surface Book not having USB Type-C at all. And Panos Panay kind of mocked it a little bit. Then Google introduced a new Pixel Chromebook that only had USB Type-C. And Microsoft actually started to look like it was falling behind. And then it did Surface Laptop, 5th gen Surface Pro, which for some reason wasn't called Surface Pro 5, and those didn't have it either. So now they're finally starting to embrace USB Type-C. It's not Thunderbolt, and again, not having Thunderbolt 3 is fine for a PC at this price point. I could criticize Surface Book 2 a little bit, but Surface Book 2 was the first one to have USB Type-C, but it did it alongside of 2 USB Type-A ports. So this is the first one to not have Type-A, and I mean, I think you're going to be fine. Most people, I'm sure you're going to be using a Bluetooth mouse with this thing. All right. Another thing that this was criticized for is that it starts at $399. This one's $549, and there's also one that Costco sells with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes SSD, and that comes with the type cover for $549. But when they say $399 or $549, that means without the type cover. So you're going to be paying an extra $100 for the type cover, and then it gets a little more expensive. And I honestly don't understand that criticism. I think it's stupid. I think this is a criticism that we got when the original Surface Pro came out. This thing came out, I think it was $899 for 64 gigs, 128 gigabytes was $999. And people said, well, that doesn't include the type cover, though. And that lasted for like a couple of years, but this was 2013. For some reason, this argument has resurrected itself in 2018 for this device, and it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I get it. It's a more inexpensive device, but hey, you got to buy the keyboard too. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been with Surface tablets. I love the default background that they use. It's beautiful. And what you can see is, like, you can see the bezels on the display. You can't see them a lot, and that shows the quality of the LCD. And oh, my ThinkPad background just kind of showed up, and that's something that I can't stand about Windows. I won't go too deep into it, but I will say I can't stand how you can you can set up a brand new PC, and it will automatically change all of your desktop backgrounds. But anyway, so I'm going to change those back, though. The reason I changed it back was because I wasn't done talking about the display. So talk about the difference between LCD and OLED. Now, there aren't any Surface devices that use OLED. That's fine. OLED PCs are very rare. There's a couple from Lenovo. There's a couple of Alienwares from Dell. Now, OLEDs have true black. So on those PCs, you won't even be able to see where the screen ends and the bezel begins most of the time. And the reason for that is because with OLED, some pixels are turned off. LCDs are entirely backlit. And like 99% of PCs, and by the way, don't quote me on that's not an actual figure. Most PCs are LCDs. They're entirely backlit. And OLED tends to have more vibrant colors, and that's because the colors are rendered on top of true black. LCDs, the colors are rendered on top of a backlight, so it can be a little more washed out. So when you look at this screen, right, and you can see that you're getting, it's blacker than a normal LCD. If your TV shows you something that's all black, you can still tell it's on. That's because it's backlit. And I think this is doing a better job than most LCDs that I'll see. I think the colors of the default background look vibrant. I'm pretty impressed with it. For, again, this is a mid-range. It's a $549 PC, and it's got kind of lower-end specs than other devices that you might find at that price point, because you can go into a Best Buy and you'll be able to find a laptop with a Core i5 that at this price point, $549, especially, again, considering the type cover. So figure $649, you can find a laptop with a Core i5, an 8th gen Core i5 probably, and 8 gigs of RAM as well, probably. But not going to be as thin and light as this, because super thin and light, super portable. That's a big part of the Surface Go. Remember, portable, Go, makes sense, right? And, like I said, that's going to be a clamshell. It's going to be fairly thick. You might even find a convertible. Lenovo sent me a convertible probably like 6 months ago. $249. Had a Celeron processor. It had like 32 gigs of storage. Had like 1 gig of RAM, 2 gigs of RAM, something like that. And it was brutal. So what you're paying for here is the form factor. You're paying for the fact that you can take the keyboard off. You can draw on it. It has pen support. It has Windows Hello facial recognition. This is a premium device. Again, little lower end specs, but you're paying for those premium features. And what I think a lot of people don't get when you get a premium device like this is that you're not just paying for the chipset, the RAM, and the storage. You're paying for features as well. And it's a Pro in a slightly smaller form factor. I'm a little curious about how it's going to be for everyday usage. I don't know how I can hold up with a 10-inch screen. I'm a guy who usually uses 2 monitors, 2 large monitors, and I like a good 15-inch laptop. And we can see what's inside, by the way, which we went over already, but we'll just take a quick look. There should be, Pentium 4415Y, 1.6 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM, which is great. 8 gigs of RAM are I feel like 8 gigs should be the minimum these days for a decent PC. If you're going to buy the Surface Go, I think you want this model. I think you want that SSD, the faster storage, and I think you want that extra RAM. Although that Costco model might be worthwhile. 4 gigs of RAM might be okay for you, but you want that faster SSD storage. The processor, like I said, it's a little bit lower end than a Core M3. So Pentium Gold, it's a Kaby Lake processor. So this is like a 7th gen Core processor, but it's just lower end than the ones that we already have. So it's worthwhile. And it's definitely worth checking out. If you're going to buy it, read some reviews first. Hopefully read my review if you're going to wait a few weeks, because I will have a review for you in a few weeks. That's about it. This type cover does come in cobalt blue, and it comes in burgundy, so you get those pretty colors. I wish Microsoft would send me more pretty colors. You know, I bring, like I said, I bring out all my Surface devices for these unboxings, and here's my Surface laptop, also in platinum. And I got, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I will take it, but you know, the burgundy and the cobalt blue is so nice. And if you don't think this thing is sexy from the video, go into a store and check out the burgundy keyboard, check out the cobalt blue keyboard, because they're just so pretty, and check out the pens too. But yeah, the Surface Pen support is huge. The Windows Hello is huge. The form factor is huge. That's what you're getting for the price. If you want that bigger screen, if you're just going to use it as a laptop, there's plenty of options with better internal specs at this price point. So, you know, you're buying a new PC, shop around a little bit. There should be a 256 gigabyte model coming, and I haven't gotten an official word on that. It was on the original spec sheet. They took it off of the spec sheet. I've seen it on spec sheets since then. And then when I ask them, why is this on a spec sheet? They usually just tell me, like, we can't talk about that. And so we can't talk about that usually means something's coming. If something wasn't coming, they would say, oh yeah, we were planning a 256 gigabyte model and now it's gone. The best hint that I've gotten is that the 256 gigabyte model is going to be the one with LTE. Now, this thing is coming with LTE. I've confirmed that. It's still coming by the end of the year. And the interesting thing about that is that Surface Pro was the first one with LTE. Well, the first Surface with LTE was Surface 2, and then Surface 3 had it. Surface Pro was the first Pro with LTE. So this is coming with LTE. Surface Pro 6 was not announced with LTE, and I kind of thought they were abandoning that effort, especially since it takes them like 6 months extra to show up with LTE in a device. So you're taking it on the go. You might want that cellular connectivity. I got to say, when cellular connectivity in a PC is awesome, you know, being in an airport and not having to worry about connecting to Wi-Fi, fantastic. So you might want to look at that, but they haven't announced details of that yet. I believe that's going to be the one with more storage, though. Anyway, guys, I'll have a review in a few weeks. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.